I had my concerns with Echoes of Wisdom. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of current Zelda. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom always started off pretty good in my opinion, but eventually they end up turning into something kind of boring and very similar to most open world games today. For me, Zelda has mainly been coasting off of its equity it built up over these years. I've been playing Zelda games since I was a child and I loved them ever since. It's safe to say that no matter what happens to Zelda, I'm probably going to be there day one. And that was no different for Echoes of Wisdom despite my worries. I went out, got Echoes of Wisdom, and was ready to come home and start my new adventure in Hyrule. And at first, my worries, well, they seemed legitimate. My early impressions were a mixed bag. The frame rate was choppy, and the game's combat, in my opinion, was pretty slow. And overall, in the beginning, I thought maybe Zelda was dead. 3 games in a row full of disappointment, and this one seemed like it was going to be the worst of them all. My hope in the franchise was lost, but that's until the game finally clicked. The second dungeon is where this happened for me. I was fighting the final boss there, and although the fight was fun, the patterns were good, I thought the fight was pretty slow. I said to myself, there's no way Nintendo thought this combat system through. To turn Zelda into a summoner makes sense, as she's always been depicted being a magic user. But it seemed like all I was doing was just spawning in weak enemies that was barely doing any damage to the boss. Then I came to a realization. You see, this game's magic is actually within its own title. Wisdom. Wisdom is the ability to use knowledge and experience to make good judgments and decisions. When fighting this boss, my decisions weren't the best. My selection of echoes did work, but not as effective as they could because I wasn't using my mind. This key point is why so many people, I believe, are thrown off by Echoes of Wisdom. I've seen people say the game isn't for them, but I don't really believe that. I believe they were just like me. Stubborn to be creative and to go beyond the typical way of tackling problems in video games. You see, most games teach the player how to solve a problem. Once you learn how to do this, the game basically wants you to repeat the same solution over and over again until the game ends. Echoes of Wisdom, for starters, doesn't teach the player pretty much anything. Instead, they decide to go a different route. They don't just tell you how to solve a problem. They rather suggest ways you can solve problems. The difference between telling someone and suggesting something to someone is that suggestions do not give you a clear solution. They give you the option to figure out how to solve a problem on your own without leaving you completely in the dark. Now, in comparison to Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, they gave the illusion of this, but ultimately, you will have to go out of your way just to try a least effective approach to solve a problem the game already told you how to solve hours ago. People coming from Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild are going to mistakenly take this mentality and try to apply it to Echoes of Wisdom. That's why I'm hearing so many people say beds are the best option for platforming. This not only isn't true, but if you want to limit yourself by not thinking beyond what you already figured out, well, that's on you. You will not only be missing the core mechanic of the game, which is you getting creative to solve problems, but you probably will frustrate yourself once you run into situations where what you already learned no longer works. It's important to anyone wanting to get Echoes of Wisdom to know this. This game is a thinking person's game. You have to come in ready to use your imagination or you will not like it. Everything is essentially a puzzle. You've probably seen Zelda's sword fighter form in trailers. This power allows you to basically become Link so you can fight bad guys head on. Thing is, even this is designed around strategy. This mode is limited and you can use it however you want. But by playing the game as designed, you will learn the best time when and when not to use this ability. The core of this game is puzzle solving, and you will be doing so throughout the overworld and dungeons. Dungeons return to the classic design. These hands down are the best dungeons we've had in years, and that's due to them being well-designed gauntlets of puzzles, challenging mini and big bosses, secrets, and the sense of mystery and exploration missing in recent games. The map in itself is designed like a puzzle. Some areas are blocked off with multiple ways to get to them. Collectibles and secrets are around each corner, and monster camps serve as ways to get new echoes and test out new combat strategies. Echoes are the main way you fight and puzzle solve throughout Hyrule. Tri, Zelda's new friend, only can summon a few echoes at a time. Each echo has a value attached to it, and as long as you don't go over the amount of points you have, you can summon new items and creatures in. If you go over the points you have, you simply will replace the echoes you previously summoned. The great thing about this limitation is how the devs balance the game around your power level. Although both Zelda and Tri's powers get stronger as you progress, the game never lacked in challenge. Tears in Breath of the Wild quickly lost any sense of challenge once you got a few upgrades and resources. Thankfully, that isn't a problem here. Echoes is full of things to do outside the main quest. Rifts are popping up all over Hyrule, and although you do deal with these on your main journey, there are optional rifts as well, as some are tied to side quests. Side quests and echoes is quality over quantity. They always had charming stories that typically involve Zelda solving some kind of puzzle. Other quests led to mini games such as racing, air gliding, a boss rush, a puzzle challenge minigame, and more. These quests were rewards in themselves, just from how fun they were to do, and to learn about the residents of Hyrule. Side quests can also lead you to optional dungeons with their own boss fights, so it's highly recommended that you explore the side quests and do all of them. There was only one quest line that basically repeated itself, and that was the monster quest line. Some NPCs in each village want you to show them a particular monster, and although that may seem boring on paper, it really isn't, because by them asking for certain echoes for you to show them, you may have never seen them before. This always sparked my curiosity as to where these echoes could be found and how they could be used in combat. Difficulty in echoes is pretty much on par with classic Zelda games. If you are a Zelda vet like myself, you will die, but not that much. I would say it's actually harder than current Zelda, and that's more to do with the fact that Zelda herself can't take much of a hit. There is no armor system, so damage taken won't be lessened as the game goes on. There are items you can equip to Zelda increasing her abilities, but I can only attach one at a time. The game alludes that there's a way to equip more than one, but I didn't find out how to do that yet. Healing is also different than current day Zelda. Hearts drop again, and you can make smoothies similar to food to heal yourself whenever you want. Your smoothies are limited, unlike Tears of the Kingdom where you can have up to 60 meals ready at any time. Plus, in that game you can also just eat the regular food without it being cooked. You can eat food here too, but I rarely use it, as in this game it barely gives you any health back. The game is just more challenging due to the devs not giving you essentially an easy healing option at any time. And even though I did say you can heal whenever you want, remember Zelda will take the same high damage throughout the whole game, unless you drink a smoothie with a defense buff or equip a certain item that gives you a defense buff. Meaning, unless you use these items, you can easily run out of your supply of food even if you decide to eat it. Story in Echoes, again, is just like its gameplay. It's the best story we've had all generation. No more flashbacks telling us the story. No more knowing exactly who the villain is. Now in real time, we get to experience what happens in Hyrule as it occurs. Each region is dealing with these rifts. They suck people in and are slowly swallowing up Hyrule. Zelda and Tri are the only ones that can mend the rifts, and by doing so, they uncover the mystery of the one behind them. The game keeps that Zelda charm. Characters are expressive and lovable like usual. They brought back more heavy topics similar to the ones in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. And thankfully, unlike in recent Zelda games with Link, no one in this game is sitting here just worshiping Zelda all day. In fact, most characters don't even know she's the princess, and even if they find out, they don't seem to treat her special or anything. For me, this is great because when every character seems to love the main character, then it lacks diversity when it comes to personalities. Playing as Zelda, I got to build bonds with new faces, rather than feeling like the third wheel in an established relationship. I won't spoil the plot, but it was great, and up there with the best in the franchise. The ending, however, was bittersweet, which is funny because so many great Zelda games end the exact same way. Echoes of Wisdom is everything I wanted in a Zelda game, and even things I didn't know I needed. The franchise for me was slipping off, and Echoes of Wisdom has restored my confidence. Well, at least a little bit. I say that because this game isn't developed by the main Zelda team. Grezzo developed this one, and they did a phenomenal job. I really hope Enuma echoes what Grezzo did with the next Zelda game. Now, bad puns aside, Echoes of Wisdom is to be placed with the upper echelon of not only Zelda games, but games as a whole. It's a game full of charm, creativity, challenge, and discovery. A game we only get once in a generation. Something truly special, and hopefully a new beginning for Zelda as a lead protagonist.